Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Sapient. And today on our episode, we have Miss Ramya. Hi, Miss Ramya.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
I am great. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on this platform. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure, no problem. Hey, folks. My name is Ramya Ramachandran, and I am an interior designer. I own my own business, interior design business, specializing in residential, commercial, contract furniture, and hospitality design. The name of my company is Shriya Designs, SRIYA Designs with an S.com. You can also follow me on Instagram, Shriya Designs _2021, and the same on Facebook as well. So a little bit about my journey. I've actually been in the interior design field for about 15 years. I'm kind of a black sheep within the family, and probably many would say I'm probably a black sheep within the community as well.
hmm
I've always done what I wanted to do. So I started off my education, actually getting my bachelor's and my master's degree in interior design, and shortly after that, I did a little bit of residential design. And then I discovered the contract furniture commercial side of things. So I pretty much worked my way up the ladder,
hmm
working for different companies. And after that, I pretty much started my company that I've had for about 2 years. So that's kind of a gist of who I am and what I do.
And where are you based out of?
I'm based in Austin, Texas.
Okay. And are you born and brought up in the same city?
No, I was born in India, so I think I could probably define myself as an Indian-born confused Stacy. But I've
Uh-huh.
kind of lived all over. I lived in the Middle East for 10 years, and then I lived in Canada for a year, and then I did most of my high school in Memphis, Tennessee. And then I
hmm
went to school in Savannah, Georgia, and then I kickstarted my career in California, where I met my husband. And then shortly after that, we moved to Austin, Texas, where I reside currently.
Got it. So, could you just help us understand what were the like initial challenges when you decided to start your own firm or company?
Well, I would probably say, even though having a design background, I don't really have like a business mindset or a business background. So, being an entrepreneur, I think by itself is a very difficult job. You continuously are pulled into different segments and elements of your business, and you're continuously having to learn things that you never really thought you would have had to learn. Um, and I almost started out the business not even knowing that I actually was starting a business, which is kind of funny
hmm
because I pretty much use the contacts that I've known from my side of the industry that I've had for about 15 years.
hmm
And one thing led to another, and I really think like the word of mouth and the power of networking is so strong because I am a true example of that.
hmm
One thing led to another, and I've had a couple of colleagues reach out to a few others. And over the past 2 years, I've had about 40 to 80 clients without even having a website or an Instagram presence or a social media presence. And it was all done pretty much through LinkedIn and kind of advertising my services on there. Um, so, I'd say some of the challenges of my business is having consistent work, of course. I think that's probably a struggle any and every business owner, entrepreneur deals with. And doing things that are really challenging and exciting and passionate about what my business really is. I've done furniture for so long and I'm good at it. I can do it in my
hmm
sleep. but that's not what I started my business for. I wanted to do so much more,
Mhm.
and I'm currently getting out within the Austin market to get my name out and my business out and make those genuine connections that will hopefully lead somewhere where I can grow my business as well.
So you said you have no sales team, is it?
No, I don't have any sales. I do everything by myself. I do have
Mhm.
my backup designers, people that I've known within the industry,
Mhm.
and few other um, smaller scale businesses, like a marketing person that pretty much helped me put my website together, and a photographer. But I strongly believe in supporting other women owned business as well. And,
Mhm.
I really like to give them a platform and see how we can collaborate and kind of take things one step at a time. I'm very passionate about that and just giving them sort of like a platform to showcase their talents as well. So most of the people in my team are women that have businesses of their own or just starting off within a passion of theirs. And I use them as sort of like a as needed basis when my
Mhm.
business really picks up.
Got it. So, can I ask you what was the initial kind of reaction, when you started the business, when you understood, it took a lot more than, you might have really anticipated, going into the
Well, I think
business.
it really just all strings from passion. And I've seen the struggles that I had to go
Mhm.
through for a very long time in my career. And it's almost like having to push yourself as well. There are so many days and so many times where I'm just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I should just give up. But when I look back at
Mhm.
things and how far I've come, it's not really like an option, it's not a question. So I think really having that motivation to push myself to my ultimate is probably a struggle that I see every day. And just staying true to who I am. There's so many naysayers out there, but surrounding myself with like supportive people and really like focusing on your vision and my goal, I think really like gets me up to what I'm doing every day.
Is there any part of you that is, a desi jugadu in, day-to-day
I
business?
don't know what that term means.
Okay, so desi jugadu is a person who is very stingy on budget, and they find creative
Oh,
ways to get
well,
something
as a
done.
small scale businesses, I always try to find free tools to do the things that I need to. And there are so many tools out there. If you look for it, you can find it.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think one instance probably would be I had to put like a proposal together for a fairly large scale project for healthcare project for one of my clients, and I found a website that does it for you. And I didn't realize until I'd spend like a good half an hour to an hour that it was actually a paid program to download the proposal. So I pretty much took the information and all the templates and stuff like that from there, and I recreated it. And
Mhm.
through Word documents and Excel and Canva, there's so many other options out there. And I put a pretty, I'd say, a pretty good proposal together to send back to my client. But I think there are so many different ways and really like tools out there. Some of the things that I use, obviously, for like my social media too, is like Canva, and I use Photopea, which is a free version of Photoshop.
Mhm.
And I didn't discover that until
Yes, correct.
I applied for another position too. And then I use Invoice Generator, which is an absolutely fabulous tool to make your invoices look very professional. So, like I want to spend money, obviously, strategically, but for my business. But I do
Mhm.
know that if it's worth it, then I'm gonna spend the dime and the dollar for it. I recently started advertising myself as well as articles for a magazine, so I think they're doing a really good job. But it was something that I didn't really think about. I don't really know if it's leading anywhere, but it is
Mhm.
my name out there within local community, and hopefully it's gonna get me somewhere with my business. But yeah, I mean, I will say that I try to save as much as I can, but I am pretty headstrong about spending money where it comes to be for the right resources and the tools for my business.
Got it. So essentially, see, I'm a digital marketer by profession, and I do teach digital marketing to a lot of students and a lot of small business owners out of passion. I don't charge them anything. So what I usually do is spend a lot of time with them, just helping them with free tools and free softwares. Because I think getting, if there is something that is available for free, it really does not make sense to pay or spend those precious resources that a small business has.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, coming to the next question. Yeah, so how was your like early days in terms of in your life, like as you said, you have moved a lot of cities. So how was that, like getting let's say influenced or changing your life as per the local culture?
Well, since I have lived in several cities, I think it's not so much about being influenced by the culture, but more so adapting my ways, and being open to other cultures. Because living in the Middle East, I'd still grown up in a very Middle Eastern environment. But there was also that Indian side of me because I did go to a very Indian centric school,
Mhm.
and followed all of the curriculum that they would follow in India. There was still, I was very in tuned with my culture, but of course, open to the culture that I was living in as well. And I don't really think I'd really seen the influence of other cultures and to explore other cultures until I'd gotten to be independent and a little bit older. Because, when you're around parents and you're around family and stuff like that, all of their mindset and their norms kind of get like brought down to you. And I felt like I was following sort of like their lifestyle
Mhm.
until I got to be a little bit older. And really discover that travel is a way more than just sightseeing and like checking that box off your list. It
Mhm.
really is so much more than absorbing the culture that's over there, being open to trying out new food, and just meeting new people and learning languages. And there's just so much more attached to it. And I felt like growing up, even though I lived in so many different cities and so many different countries, there was that side of me that was very well protected by my parents. And yeah, I'd say I wish, I went back in time and I had the opportunity to really explore that side. But alas, here we are, and it really has taught me to be more flexible with my life and be a social person and adapt to whatever city or country or anything that I live in. And even environment, whether it's like moving schools or moving places or moving cities or anything like that.
Got it. And since how many years have you been running this business of yours?
I actually just celebrated 2 years.
Okay, so you're fairly new to the business, right?
Yeah, I'm fairly new to the business, but I'm not new to what I do because I've done it
Yeah.
for pretty much all my life.
So you're a veteran in the industry, but new to the game, kind of thing.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Do you think that AI has really, like, let's say, shaped the way you think about your business?
It's funny that you asked that because I have been using ChatGPT for my social media and some of the posts that I do. I don't really know if it currently has changed anything within my particular industry, but I do foresee it coming through. But I'm not really very concerned about it hindering my business, only because I feel like, once again, I'm sort of like unique in what I offer, because I feel like most of my competitors only offer residential, and that's where I kind of differentiate myself from my market as well. Because I also do hospitality, as in hotels, and I bring so much more from my knowledge to the plate that I don't really feel like AI can really replace that
Mhm.
in the long run. But yeah, there are situations where I see AI taking over the industry, but also as like a furniture expert, I it's so detail oriented in everything that I do that I don't really know if I should be concerned about AI, but there's always that
Mhm.
what if factor as well.
Yeah, I mean, AI is, it's literally a tool that we can use for our advantage. But what the general consensus is, that we better adopt the ways of AI. Otherwise it will be difficult for the smaller businesses to survive.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there are so many different ways that you can speed up your process and bring new innovative thinking that, sorry to say, but maybe the human brain isn't thinking about it, that AI can sort of like bring perspective to it. And as a small scale business, I'm only one person, so there's only so much time that I have on my plate, and if I can utilize the tools out there, then why not? It's almost like hiring like 10 different other people doing one particular job.
Yes. Yeah. So my next question is, do you try to be, let's say, politically correct when you are a business owner?
Um, no, there's a caveat to that. I would probably say yes and no. Yes, in the sense it depends on what professions that I'm working with. I probably need to be more
Hmm.
politically correct if I'm working with a contractor or an architect or within the construction industry, because then they're probably just going to look down on me and be like, oh, no, well, she doesn't know the technical details of what she's doing, so I don't think this job is worth it. And I can easily be replaced by another designer with more knowledge. But on the other side of things, when I'm dealing with clients, I think I try to bring more personality and to level with them on a more personal basis, because it's all about the connection, right? And to really understand where they're coming from, their perspective, their mindset, and to bring solutions to the team together collaboratively, instead of saying, okay, well, this is how it's done for years together. I think it really
Hmm.
helps to work together to bring a solution together rather than an individual process. So that way, we're both having fun through the journey. I think a mere example of that was I'm currently working on a Best Western project that I just got approval from corporate, and I'm working with the investor. And there were a couple things that we needed to swap out for the furniture, just because of lead time. And I went to a couple of other websites and found a few solutions. And I've worked with this investor for a little bit of time now, and I know his taste, and I know he loves neutrals. But as a
Hmm.
designer, I'd like to bring in a pop of element in there, and I know it's a huge risk bringing in a yellow within the design. And lo and behold, he did say something about it and he mentioned it. But I understand where he's coming from, because his perspective is we want to see and use all of this long term. And if you bring in such a strong
Hmm.
pop of color in it, it's going to be hard for us to keep that fresh for years to come. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe we can find a happy medium over there. Maybe we can do a subtle pop of color, or maybe we can bring in a pattern. So, I sent him a couple of options, and I'm glad he picked the option that I actually preferred as well. But, I think it's all about working together and making that process fun and making sure that you understand their side of the story as well as communicate your side of the story as well to really have a successful client and a project.
So my next question is, let's say, what are the like standard procedures that you have put in place to retain the old customers or repeating customers?
Well, I didn't discover this until I was probably about halfway through launching my business, my first year. But I didn't realize contracts actually are fairly important. And I still work with a lot of furniture dealerships, large scale furniture dealerships that sort of come out to me as an as needed basis as a contractor.
Mhm.
And with the market as well, and depending on the amount of work that was coming in, my hourly rate ranged between, it might be a little different for this client. Maybe their business needs are a little different versus another client that's kind of coming in regularly. So really putting a contract together and stating what the hourly rate was, and what they can anticipate from me, from the company, whether it's like buying more software or anything related to the design that I was providing to them, that would kind of be a conversation that we have, whether it was like an out of pocket cost for me or if they were willing to pitch in. So I think that was really important having that contract, which I genuinely use for all of my new clients going
Mhm.
forward, whether it is residential, commercial, and hospitality as well. And also to really fix that hourly rate that we had decided on, and knowing that with market rate and everything else that is happening within our current world, that could be looked at and be changed a year from now. So I really think that's also kind of a way for me to be accountable and be professional. And also, if something happens along the way, God forbid, it hasn't so far, then I have a written contract to take if I need to further pursue any further for, if anything goes wrong, like within, you know, um, getting a lawyer or anything like that.
Mhm.
That I think has really, really helped me, and also a lot of having for the longest time, it was just like a Dropbox link of examples that I've done previously, but now my website really ties that all together. And just making sure that I have those initial conversations about what I can provide, what they can provide, what they're looking for. So it is a little simpler on my end on what it is that I have in terms of contracts, I'd say,
Mhm.
um, but also being set up, financially being paid, whether it is direct deposit or any of those. So having those standard procedures are like really important, because I'm repeatedly doing it for several clients. So I just kind of figured out to put it all together. But yeah, those are just some of the things that I've had to learn and had to put together over time. And I'm sure it's probably going to vary depending on the type of client that I work with, and the projects that are sort of coming my way as well.
Okay. So the next question I have is a kind of two-parter. So the first question is, when did you raise your hourly rates? And the second question is, once you raise your hourly rates, what were the initial reactions of your clients, and what was the long-term impact of it?
So I only raised my hourly rates if it was a new client, because I'd already established a relationship with the previous ones, and the contract very well says that if we continue this relationship and if work is going well, then I'll have to reevaluate my hourly rate a year from now. So I don't really touch that if it's already an existing client, but there are ways to add to it. So, a lot of my clients, they don't really know how much time I'm spending on a project, but also when you're within the industry, you kind of know how much time it would take something to get done. So I realized sneaking in a few hours per project really makes up for the extra charge in the hourly rate, but still being true to the hourly rate that we had initially decided on. So that way they don't really think that I'm raising my rates for no reason. But at the same way, I feel like I'm being fair to the amount of work that I'm putting in just with market rates that are going out there. So that's something that actually my husband has advised me on, and it's worked out fairly well. Because nobody really is going to question like a half an hour more here, per project, or half an hour more there. You don't really see it in the overall aspect of things. But when it comes to newer clients, I still am debatable on the rate that I kind of speak for, because once again, it really depends on the size of the dealership and how much work they're sending. And I did see that I would raise my rates if I had extra set of hands working with me, like any of my other designers were working with me, because I am paying them as well for their time. So I'd have to charge a little bit more than what I would charge because I'm not the one doing the work. So I think it's sort of like a controversial topic here and there for me, because it really just depends on the relationship of the client, like how I feel and how much business is coming in. But I do have a range that I kind of stick with and make sure it's fair for both parties.
Okay, so before like going on this venture of starting a business, did you take any courses such as especially in sales and like how to pitch to new customers and all these sort of different approaches to learning new things?
No, absolutely not. And I am actually really, really surprised I've made it this far without knowing any side of business. But I keep mentioning this. I have a very extremely supportive husband, and he does have a business degree as well. So it does help that he is giving me advice. But there are just so many things that I've learned through my profession. Just being a leader and being within leadership positions, or being within dual positions of a project manager and a designer or a senior designer, that I've just seriously just learned through the industry and through time. But there are so many things from my business I still don't know I'm doing it. It's just a habit, and I don't know if that's the right thing that I'm doing, but it's working. It's clearly working because, just the definition of the number of clients and the work that I've received over the past 2 years, it's just a mere example of I'm doing something right. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly. But I think, just being proactive, and really being surrounded by other business women and business individuals has taught me a lot on the business side of things. And I'm open to learning new tools and new ways of doing things. Like, say, for example, marketing myself is not something that I'm good at. But I knew as a designer, I needed to get my name and my place out in social media. And I kickstarted my social media. It's almost been a month now. And it's not about, getting the likes or the followers or anything like that. It really is a platform for me to advertise what I do and what my business is really about. And if I end up getting business from there, that's the whole goal for it. But, if I don't, at least, I have a presence out there. I've put myself out there and my business is out there. So to answer your question, no, but I'm also trying to find different ways, whether it's online or going to seminars or anything like that, or business opportunities to learn more things on how to successfully run my business.
Got it. So, like you said, you have been in the business for 2 years, and so the question is your business right now profitable?
Um, well, it certainly has been profitable over the past 2 years. Um, this year, I'm actually pivoting my business in a whole new direction. So as of right now, it's still profitable, but not profitable enough that I was the last 2 years. And that's
Mhm.
okay, that there are a million different ways, to run a successful business. And I certainly think I'm taking a risk by doing what I'm doing, but I'm also thinking of ways on how to stand out from my competitors by not doing what I was previously doing, because there are so many different other competitors out there within my field. I also passionately felt like I need to do so much more for my business. Um, so, to answer your question, yes, it is profitable, but not profitable enough to the point that it was over last year or the year before. And there have been, so many other factors to that. Um, but
Mhm.
I'm still making money, and I'm still finding tools to invest in my business. And I really don't have a lot of overhead to invest in my business, which is wonderful. I mean, I'm going to be candid, and I probably have about 2 to 3 thousand that I invest into my business every year, which is absolutely
Mhm.
peanuts for someone who's making a six-figure income for over the past 2 years.
Mhm. Okay. Have you given any thought of expanding your team? That is the core team of sales, marketing, accounting, and all this essential roles within the business.
I certainly have, and that's where I kind of hired the people that I've hired as my go-to. Um, I think right now I'm just trying to focus to see what direction I'm going to be taking my business in. And I have no issues in hiring the people that I need to. But I feel like I'm the name of my business and I need to do it. I need to make those genuine connections rather than hiring, an XYZ to just keep doing the things that they're doing. Because this is very like personable for me too. Like I get excited when I see an entire project come to fruition, and I do a lot of the work myself. So for me, I think at this point, it really is like making those genuine connections and those relationships within the industry partners. And I've been doing a lot of that over the past 2 months. And I've been taking a different approach as well. I'm connecting with a lot of real estate agents and brokers and investors, because those I feel are like the really true key people to get the business that I am chasing after.
Got it. So yeah, stepping away from the business, part of your life, right? Like how, like let's say, how do you have any other like kind of passion or something that's kind of guilt pleasure?
Yeah, I am actually a huge foodie, and I am not gonna say I am the best at cooking, but I am pretty good. Um, and I love trying out new recipes. I'm always exploring, food sites and all of that to try out new and new complicated recipes, different cuisines. I also started out my cooking journey by being a baker. So prior to actually launching my business, I had a food blog, and I thought that was the
Okay.
route that I was going to take my life into, being more of a food photographer and recipe developer, and just being on the food side of things. So I did that for a good 6 months, but that taught me how to explore other different avenues of food as well. And something that I still enjoy doing to this day is baking. And I've actually really enjoy making cakes. So, any birthdays or family events or something like that, I'm always the first person people reach out to. They're like, "Can you make me a cake?" And I'm also partially half vegan, so I love
Mhm.
making all my cakes. Well, vegan's a little bit harder, but I'm a vegetarian too, so I like making all of them eggless. So that's the element of challenge that sort of brings in to that
Mhm.
forte. And I really like challenging myself. So I've made like 2 to 3 tier cakes that have usually take me 2 to 3 days. And when I do have like a birthday coming up, I put my full effort into it. I almost like everything that I do is just 100% me, and I'm a perfectionist. So yeah, that's something that I do, and traveling, of course, and reading. I don't do it a lot, but I'm trying to get back into it. Trying out new restaurants, traveling. So those are just some of the other things that I do outside of my business to kind of like de-stress too.
Got it. And how is Austin as a city? Like, how do you feel about the city?
It's a really vibrant city. It is a little bit smaller than some of the other cities out there, Houston or Dallas. But
Hmm.
I really love the culture out here because people are just very open-minded. They're very friendly compared to some of the conservative cities out there. And I have been out there, and I
Hmm.
can see the vast difference between Houston and Austin. There's also a younger crowd because of the tech companies that are coming in. But I do see where Austin's getting pretty overcrowded and populated right now compared to what it
Hmm.
was. And I can say that from a span of like 5 or 6 years of being here. So
Hmm.
I don't really like the direction that the city in general is going in with it being overpopulated and overcrowded. But as a whole, I really like Austin for its culture, for all the art that's coming in, the live music, just the creative side of things that I can really connect with, and all of the business side of things that are coming in, like all the wonderful opportunities that are coming here, and really being able to connect with other collaborators and individuals for everything that's coming into Austin.
Yeah. I think Joe Rogan is
He
currently
is,
based in
yes.
Austin, right? Yeah, I was just taking a guess there. Yeah. Anyways, like, so you are talking about a city, which is not, like a stereotypical city. It has a lot of vibrance and culture. What is let's say, what's one best thing that you like about your city?
Um, I really like how Austin is just super creative. It flocks in a lot of
Hmm.
artists, and it really gives them an opportunity to make it big or to even shine. I really love the live music
Hmm.
scene up here, and I love the super creative like restaurants and bar scene that's coming out here. Like, and it's you really can come up with something super unique even as a business and flourish for the next couple years. But on the flip side of things, I do feel a little disappointed and sad for the smaller scale businesses that are just trying to keep up with the market, because they are being taken over
Hmm.
by the larger scale businesses and corporations and stuff like that out there. So it's it's um, it's almost like a give and take situation. I'm sure there's another word that my mind can't think of at the moment. Um, but yeah, I really, really, really enjoy how creative and vibrant this city is.
Okay, and let's say right now you're living in Austin. If given a choice, would you move to any other city, and which city would that be?
Actually, probably yes. Just because I really don't know how insane Austin's going to get the next couple of years, and we're already seeing the influx of that. So I could probably see myself living in Florida somewhere, but I don't think my husband would like that only because of the weather. But I love being by the beach.
Mhm.
So I'm open to like a smaller scale city in Florida. My husband really loves
Mhm.
Colorado, so it's the complete opposite of Florida, of course. But we
Mhm.
do want to eventually move to a city where there are more outdoor activities that we can do. We really enjoy being outdoors and trekking and hiking and all of that. So I don't really know where we're
Mhm.
going to end up, but we are having a few conversations, and
Mhm.
I don't think Austin's going to be our final destination.
So
I
it's
mean,
it's
I
just a
really
layover,
did
is it?
think that Austin was going to be home for us for a very long time, and it's kind of sad that it's not going to end up
Okay.
being our home. But you got to just adapt and change with the times. Nobody really was expecting Austin to be the way it is currently. But I think
Mhm.
there's just been so many other things that have sort of impacted that. And I would
Mhm.
still like to keep Austin a hub or a space that we can come visit. Maybe we
Mhm.
have a property here, we have a house here, so and I know it will value in time. So we'll probably just rent it out and sort of have it as an
Mhm.
investment property. So we're just, trying to figure out where we'd like to see ourselves long term, but haven't really honed down on a particular city as yet.
Got it. So, earlier you mentioned that Austin is getting crazier. Do you think Austin getting crazier is better for your business?
Um, I'm not too sure, because as I am trying to venture myself out within the Austin market, it probably is a good thing that it is getting busier just because I feel like there are opportunities that I could see myself helping smaller scale businesses or larger scale corporations with workplace design and healthcare and all of that, um, or education. But a lot of people see it as more of like the influx of housing that's going on. And as much as I do want to say that um, I I do cater to that side of the business, the residential side, my passion truly lies in commercial and hospitality. So I don't really know how to answer that question because I haven't been a mere example of it, and maybe I'm just at like the beginning stages of really making those genuine connections that leads me to those opportunities. But most of my work really is outside of Austin.
Okay. So, last few questions here from my side. So the first question is, realistically, how big do you think you can grow your
Um,
business into?
I think I can grow huge. And I can see that vision and I can see myself. And that's why it's sort of been a difficult process this year because I know there are some really good opportunities that are coming my way within different sectors of design as well. Eventually, I do want to grow my company, but not too much to the point where I'm losing control of things. But I would like to say, maybe like 10 sort of like the sweet spot of having 10 people in my company. But still being within that range of like a smaller
Mhm.
scale company, just to make sure that we're keeping true to what we offer and keeping true to our clients. So realistically, I can see myself growing and growing fairly quickly as and when the right opportunities
Mhm.
click. And I've already done that in a way last year. It hasn't been like continuously
Mhm.
hiring, or having 5 to 6 people work with me, but I I have 4 people in my team already, including myself. So, but I would
Okay.
like to get it to the point where I am using them and utilizing their skills on a regular basis to profit the company.
Mhm. Okay. So, as you said that you have like 5 people team. So my question is, when you really like started hiring this team, uh, at any point did you feel anxious that
Absolutely,
you were responsible for
100%.
their livelihoods?
And that pushed me even more to get more business and to keep going. And, it's upsetting as a business owner to not help somebody else within your team or to tell them there's no work coming in. And, I've recently faced that. As of last year, I had a full time contract that I was working with Facebook, or for a dealership specifically doing Facebook. And I was also managing about all my different
Mhm.
other business clients. So I worked a lot. I worked about 80-hour weeks. And that's when I had to hire my best friend, who is also a designer. And I kept her busy for a good, I'd say, 3, maybe 6 months. But once that contract died out, just with everything that's going on within the
Mhm.
market, I could not keep her as busy as I used to. And that's very unfortunate because it was a lot of stress that was coming on to me because I felt like I was failing as a business owner to keep her busy. And it wasn't even a matter of are we making a profit or anything like that. I just felt like I had to push myself. I had to push myself and keep getting the clients and to keep reaching out there because I had another person that I had to worry about. But once I discovered, and there were a couple of other things that sort of happened at that time as well. And she's still my very good best friend, and I'm still gonna reach out to her, when things get a little busy. But I almost saw it as like, let's take a breather. Maybe this is a good chance to slow down because I've had a really hectic year and to think about other ways to pivot the business in another direction because maybe what I was doing previously isn't working this year. So yes, to answer your question, that's always something at the back of my head. And if I tell someone that I'm going to be giving them the amount of work that I'm giving them, I really want to hold true to it.
Got it. So, the next question is, if let's say a young guy or a young girl, wanted to get into any sort of small business, they were passionate about it and they wanted to get into it. What would be the two of the most critical advices that you would give them?
The first advice is just start. Wherever it is, whatever you're thinking, just take that first foot forward and just start. And don't worry about if I have to have my website, I have to have marketing, I have to have all of these things in place before I can start my business because I can say from experience, I didn't have any of that. And I've been fairly successful. I just launched my website
Mm.
about 2 months ago, and I've been in business for 2 years. So that is something. And something that kind of goes hand in hand with that is surround yourself with supportive and positive people. If you are someone who's single, don't worry about it. Go out there, make those connections, and surround yourself with other business owners or other entrepreneurs because you're not going to know what you're doing and what you need to do until you hear it from other people and how successful they are as well. And learn from their mistakes too and share your knowledge. And also, I know this is probably the third piece of advice, but just be open to opportunities. You really never know where those opportunities would take you and what doors you might open. Even if it's something that you have to put in all of your hard work and you're not getting paid for it, whether it's a volunteer job, whether it's an intern position, just put yourself out there. And I really like hospitality is something that I never, in my wildest dreams, would have even thought about doing. And here I am, just being open to it. I've opened doors to now being a hospitality expert, doing small scale hotels for Comfort Inn, Best Western. I'm about to do two La Quintas, and like And I know nothing about hospitality design. But yeah, hard work really, really pays off. And just keep at it. Just continue being positive and reach for those goals and those stars.
Mhm. Yeah, and also, if people had to reach you, where could they reach you?
They can reach me at my email address, Ramya, Ramya, at Shriya Designs, Sriya Designs, Designs.com. You can check out my website, Shriya Designs, Sriya Designs with an S.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Shriya Designs, or my Instagram as well, Shriya Designs underscore 2021.
Got it. So, yeah, Rami, actually, it was very nice talking to you. Because of the knowledge and the kind of experience you bring in terms of running a small business. While striking a very, let's say, trying to strike a balance between work and life. So it was very like knowledgeable exchange for this episode.
Yeah, thank
So
you
I'd
so
like to
much for
thank you
your
very much.
time as well. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about what I do and my background and my company as well within this platform.
Sure. Thank you very much. So that's it, guys, for this episode. Catch you on the next episode. Thank you. Yeah, just a second. I'm going to.